Uh, Obviously, everyone's wanting to know what's the prognosis on Harry as it stands.
Harry's most likely done for the season. He's got a different injury. We're undergoing some, further external assessment and treatment, and we'll update on timeframes as we go. But at this stage, it's going to be season ending.
Does that include playoffs, obviously?
Yeah. At this stage.
Not regular season ending, but full season ending. How big a blow is that?
Of course, you want your better players to be available for selection, but the club's played without Harry for a bunch this year, and it'll be about who is playing, not who isn't. But obviously for Harry on a personal level, we're disappointed for him because he's worked really hard, but he's got some clear direction about what he needs to rehab, not just the hamstring, but a sort of whole of system approach to bulletproofing for the future.
And it's not the same hamstring injury that's happened again. This is a different issue, is it?
Yeah, it's a different issue, yeah.
How's he taken the news?
Really, really maturely, I feel. Been very responsible and mature about how things are. He's disappointed clearly, but he's got stuck into his rehab and his treatment, and he's been really good around the group and wants to be able to contribute to the environment as we're pushing forward here.
What options do you have then in that position?
Hopefully plenty in the weeks to come. We'll have Fusatua back. He's played a bunch of centre in his time as well as a younger player. But Tom Briscoe will be back soon also. We've obviously got Zach that can play there. Reece Martin has done a good job at centre as well. So we've got plenty of options.
So Cam Smith is back in he's in the squad after the hand injury. Bodine isn't. How bad is Bodine's ribs?
It's a bit of an unusual one. He's got some muscle tears in and around the ribs, some of the smaller muscles that support the ribs. So it's a sort of pain management type situation. He's an extremely tough human being, and he's having pain while breathing at the moment. So he'll be at least a few weeks away, but it'll be a sort of, as the pain settles, we'll be able to start training again. But at the moment, breathing is difficult enough.
Could you just give us an update on the guys that are coming back? You've mentioned Tom Briscoe, Cruz and James Bentley.
Yeah, Cruz is getting close. Not sure. Probably it'd be the Catalan game, I would say. And sorry, who was the other one?
James Bentley.
James Bentley's got through some training today, but he's yet to be cleared for the weekend.
How positive is that news regarding Cruz? Because I think there was at one point where we didn't think he'd play again this year.
Yeah, certainly positive. He's a key part of what we're doing moving forward. He's done a really good job with his rehab. He's looking extremely fit. It's just a matter of getting the right amount of work under his belt to be ready to play well when it's time.
What do you expect from the Wolves then on Friday night?
They're sort of a dangerous team. They can throw caution to the wind, I guess, and they've got a lot of quality, experienced players across the board. So they've been boosted with Dufty arriving, and they're setting up their play to allow him to play the plays he likes to play. So we're going to have to defend really well, particularly on our edges.
He's been very good for them, hasn't he, Dufty? Have you got any history with him?
No, I don't. I don't have any history, but I've watched most of his games over the years playing for the Dragons, particularly. A really dangerous player coming through the grades, and obviously he's been a real threat at NRL level and made an instant impact in Super League.
And just lastly from me, I know you've always maintained that you're not a table watcher. Do you have to start looking at the table now with so few fixtures to go?
It's just important that we win this week. and before you can win, you have to worry about preparing well. We've done that to date. Today we had a good session, and we'll finish it off tomorrow and have to get ourselves ready for battle again.
Just on Harry, obviously you said probably season over. There's a World Cup coming up and he was in the squad. Do you think that's his chance of playing in that gone?
I'm not sure what the selection process will be there, and I don't know if he'll be available. So I can't really make too much comment about that. If he was fit and able by that point in the year, he's certainly a player that would pose a threat to those other big countries.
James Bentley's obviously in the squad for this week. What exactly was his injury?
He tweaked a couple of ligaments in his ankle, and obviously a real tough character. He tried to get himself going last week, but he just wasn't ready. Not 100% sure if it's settled enough for him to play yet. We'll see how he is tomorrow.
You've got some players back. I think it's 4 players back from suspension this week, and no new suspensions. That's a bit of a boost, isn't it? A rare treat.
Yeah, there's one person I don't like calling me on a Monday, and I was glad to have that not be. The phone didn't ring on Monday, so that was good.
Tom Holroyd's had a 10-week or a 10-game ban. Can you see him playing some first-team rugby this season?
Tom's actually torn a ligament in his elbow in the week before he was ready to return. So he's going to be having surgery on that in a week or two's time. So really disappointing for Tom. He spent that long period really working on himself as a player and a person, and the progress he'd made athletically. He'd spent a lot of time with Rich Hunnix through that period because he was fit and able. So we're really making the most of the weekends when the team were playing. He was getting extra work in, and he was looking great. So it's really disappointing for Tom particularly, but it's got to be onwards and upwards, and we get him ready for a big 2023.
Yeah, and I think the other person that sidelines Dono, I think he's had surgery on a knee. Is that anything long term, or could he play again this year?
Yeah, Dono will play again this year, most likely. He's recovered really well from a relatively minor surgery, but needed. He couldn't wait any. He had to have it done now. So he's recovered well from it. The swelling's going down pretty well. So yeah, we'll see how that looks in a couple of weeks' time.
And just lastly from me, Bodine Thompson's in the last year of his contract. Do you know what the situation with that is? Is there a chance he could be out the club next year?
Bodine and I have had several conversations about the future, and I haven't been in a position where we could offer him something. So that's how it's been each conversation. I really like Bodine. I think he has a lot to offer on and off the field. We get on well as a player and coach, but he's certainly one of the most respected teammates as well. But at this stage, we're not in a position to do anything there.
In the past few weeks, I've seen Zach Hardick has got a brace or something on his leg. Is that precautionary?
Oh, Zach's like many of the other players at this time of year. He's carrying a few niggles, and he's just had a strapping on that. It's not actually a brace. It's just black strapping tape that's just been taking care of a niggle.
Okay. And has there been any more conversations about that moving forward, about his future at the club?
Oh, I've spoken to Zach's manager, his agent, about the future, and that's an ongoing process.
You've got 3 games remaining at Headingley. Do you view that as an advantage, given your recent home form and the backing you've received from the fans?
The support has been massive. Massive. The last couple of games especially have been really, the crowd's been pumping, and the energy through the place is certainly something the players thrive off. So we're looking forward to that again on Friday, and then we'll worry about the next game later on.
Yeah, the focus is obviously always on the next game, but do you have to have one eye on the upcoming fixtures given you've got 4 games in a little over 2 weeks?
There'll be some sense of making sure we're managing the load of players for sure through that process, but we'll certainly be picking the team that we feel can get a really good result and a good performance this weekend.
Yeah, just on that, of course you want to play your strongest team in every game, but will you need to rotate during this period?
There's always, I think it's important as a coach, and you see most coaches do it without talking about rotation. They're managing the load, whether that's through, players coming off the bench or starting, or alternating where they play, how many minutes. So some players might play, but not as many minutes. In a sense, that's rotating. So sharing the load is something that we've been forced to do with the suspensions and injuries over the last few months, that we have had to use a bunch of players, which I see as a major benefit as we're getting a little healthier at the back end.
Is it a tricky period to manage as a coach and the coaching staff?
Yeah, it's an exciting period. There's a lot of games on and not too much training, so it's a period where we have to really work at making sure the players feel good on game day, or as best they can on game day, and making sure we've got a little bit of a view to the next game, but only in a sense of managing those that need to be managed. Some guys are they'll be flying and ready to play every week.